What's up everyone, we're going to be going to the best NBA player props on Prizepicks today. Now I did want to show you the results from yesterday's picks from my exclusive Discord group, and as you guys see we actually got 19 picks correct, which was absolutely insane. So we're on a huge hot streak, but if you want to get 19 picks right like me, win more bets and receive the best picks from some of the best bettors in the world for less than a cup of coffee, you can access the exclusive Discord and meet some of the best sport bettors in the game by joining my Patreon. Should be a link down below in the description. Once you join, you'll have complete access to the Discord and can start winning more bets today. So make sure you join my Patreon using the link in the description. And here's one of our members who just signed up and won himself $8,000 just yesterday. Another member who won $225 for the 6th day in a row since joining my Discord. So guys, if you want to win big money like our members, the link will be in the description. So go join the Patreon to have access to the Discord group. And I will be continuing to upload every single day on this channel the best bets and props. So make sure to subscribe so you don't miss my daily uploads. All right, let's get straight into the first pick. But when it comes to these picks, I'm not saying to chuck all of them into a parlay and hope for the best. Pick and choose the ones that you like and the ones that work best for you. So the first pick we're going to talk about is none other than Mike Conley for 5.5 assists, and this one actually is for less. Now, when we look at Mike Conley, we've actually seen him go on the under in 3 out of the last 5 games, and they do face off against none other than the Denver Nuggets. So it is going to be a very exciting game, but when we actually look at the assist, we do see that when it comes to the Denver Nuggets, they do actually rank, pretty interestingly 30th when it comes to assists allowed. Now, the reason why we still do like the under for this situation, even though Denver Nuggets do rank very low, is that when it comes to, the Denver Nuggets, they do a really good job at restricting, assists to the guard position, which is what Mike Conley is. On top of that, we actually have seen Conley's usage rate drop quite a bit. Yes, he did have 2 games against Dallas and Memphis where he did get 8 assists each. We think that was a little bit of an outlier game, and for that reason, we do very much like the under for this situation here. Now, when it comes to someone, like Mike Conley, when we look at his average over the last 5, it is 4.8, so significantly under this line as well. So all signs really do point towards the under for this one. And for that reason, we are sticking to the under. So Mike Conley, 5.5 assists for less, I think is a great pick. Again, so the next one, we're going to be talking about none other than Jaden McDaniels. So Jaden McDaniels is honestly, another great player for Minnesota Timberwolves, but this one is a steals and blocks combo one. So this one's actually for steals and blocks for 2.5, and this one actually is for less. Now, when we look at Jaden McDaniels, we've actually seen him go in the under in 2 out of the last 5 games, and they do face off against none other than the Denver Nuggets. Now, we look at the Denver Nuggets when it comes to actually steals allowed. We do see that the Denver Nuggets surprisingly ranked 21st, and then blocks allowed, we also see that the Denver Nuggets do rank, a little bit better, but they rank 18th. So, they still do rank pretty low, but like I mentioned, when we look at Denver Nuggets on a per position basis, we do see that when it comes to Jaden McDaniels, we do actually see that he is a forward, and Denver actually do a really good job at, not allowing steals and blocks to the forward position. So we definitely see that being a big case coming into this game. When we look at his average over the last 5, it is 3.4, so slightly above this line, but we think his most recent game against Dallas was a little bit of an outlier game. We think it brought his line a little bit too high, that now there's a lot more value actually to go on the under here. So for that reason, we do very much like the under and are sticking to the under for this situation. So I definitely would keep an eye out for someone like Jaden McDaniels coming into this game. So because of that reason, keep an eye out for him. Jaden McDaniels 2.5 blocks and steals combo for less, I think is a great pick. Again, to the next one, we're going to be talking about none other than a great player, and that is Daniel Gafford. So Daniel Gafford, another great player, and this one is a combo for blocks and steals as well for 2.5, and this one is for less. Now look at Daniel Gafford. We've actually seen him go in the under in 2 out of the last 5 games, and they do face off against none other than the Boston Celtics. And like I mentioned before, Boston Celtics do rank 3rd when it comes to steals allowed, and they also rank 3rd when it comes to blocks allowed. So very high in both categories. And for that reason, we do very much like the under for this situation here, as we definitely see that being a big case coming into this game. The fact that Boston do rank very high in both categories, I definitely think is going to be a tall tale sign that we do very much like the under for this situation here. When we look further, we also do see that when it comes to Daniel Gafford, that he also is a big man forward or power forward playing center, and Boston do a really good job at restricting steals and blocks also to his position. So that both being said can definitely have a huge effect. correct. His average over the last 5 is 4, but he has had some outlier games. We think he should see him come back to reality, come back down, and we should see him go below, especially against a tough team like the Boston Celtics. They are also expecting a very slow-paced game, and if it is going to be a slow-paced game, we may not see a lot of opportunities for Daniel Gafford to get steals and to get blocks, which should lead him to the under as well. So for that reason, keep an eye out for the under. So Daniel Gafford, 2.5 blocks and steals for less, I think is a great pick. So as you all know, I do want to get these picks out to you as soon as possible, but Prizepicks is delayed with some of their lines. So here are a couple of players you should definitely watch out for when their lines drop. So first player we're going to be talking about is none other than Chris Paul. Now when it comes to Chris Paul, he has done a fantastic job for his new team, which is the San Antonio Spurs. And so far this season, he has been averaging 9.4 points, 4.3 rebounds, 8.2 assists, while also shooting 41.6% from the field. So he's done a fantastic job for the San Antonio Spurs, and the Spurs do face off against none other than the Indiana Pacers. Now we look at the Indiana Pacers, it is going to be a great matchup, but the Pacers also do rank when it comes to points allowed. Interestingly, the Pacers being a pretty decent team do actually rank, pretty low at 21st when it comes to points allowed. On top of that, moving on into assists allowed, we also do see that the Pacers rank 13th, and then rebounds allowed, the Pacers rank 17th as well. So when it comes to Chris Paul and his matchup against the Pacers, who are 24-2, we do very much like the over for this situation here, since Indiana Pacers do rank pretty mid-tier in all 3 categories. Now we also look further, we also do see that when it comes to CP3, that he is a point guard, and Indiana Pacers actually do a very poor job, especially against the point guard position. So we definitely see someone like Chris Paul being able to take over in this matchup and be able to go over on his line. He does have a higher usage rate in the assist department, and I definitely would focus on that, but I think all 3 categories, whether it's points, rebounds, and assists, there's a lot of potential to see someone like Chris Paul be able to go on the over in this situation here. So I definitely would keep an eye out for his line in all cases. So keep an eye out for the line. If it is under his averages, definitely look to go on the over, so I definitely see a lot of great value there. Now, getting into the next player, we're going to be talking about Nikola Jokic. Now, Nikola Jokic, great player. And as we all know, he has been averaging 30.2 points, 13.4 rebounds, and 10.1 assists, while also shooting 56.4% from the field. So he's done a fantastic job for the Denver Nuggets, averaging a triple-double. And when it comes to the Denver Nuggets, they do face off against none other than the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now, we look at the Minnesota Timberwolves, we see that they do actually rank 5th when it comes to points allowed. On top of that, they rank 4th when it comes to assists allowed, and 10th when it comes to rebounds allowed. So they do rank pretty high in all 3 categories. However, when it comes to someone like Nikola Jokic, he's definitely, someone who is a superstar, gets stats on the board. And when we look on top of this, when it comes to Timberwolves, they actually do a very poor job, especially against the center position. So for that reason, we do very much like the under for someone like Nikola Jokic. We are expecting Rudy Gobert to be the main defender of Jokic, and Gobert not only just throughout this season, but also throughout his whole career has definitely struggled against someone like Nikola Jokic. On top of that, like I mentioned, the fact that, Minnesota Timberwolves do a very poor job, especially against centers. We see Nikola Jokic being able to take advantage of this and going on the over here. So we definitely do very much like the over for this situation here for someone like Nikola Jokic. He has been playing great, and when we look at his averages on points, rebounds, and assists, he definitely has the capability to go on the over in all 3 categories due to the fact that he just has such a high usage rate in all 3 departments. So I definitely would keep an eye out for someone like Jokic, especially coming into this game. So keep an eye out for his line. Like I always mentioned, if it is under his averages, definitely look to go on the over. I see a lot of great value there. Now, getting to the next player, we're going to be talking about Cade Cunningham from the Detroit Pistons. Now, when we look at the Detroit Pistons and Cade Cunningham specifically, we do see that he does, or has been averaging 24.6 points, which is fantastic to see, 6.5 rebounds, 9.4 assists, while also shooting 45.7% from the field. So he's done a great job for none other than his team, the Detroit Pistons, and the Detroit Pistons do have themselves a great matchup against the Orlando Magic. Now, Detroit Pistons are 23-21, Orlando Magic are 23-23, so it is going to be a very exciting game. But when we look at Orlando Magic, we do see that they rank 2nd in points allowed, 1st in assists allowed, and 2nd in rebounds allowed. For that reason, we do very much like the under for this situation here, due to the fact that Orlando Magic do rank very high in all 3 categories. A big reason for this is that when it comes to Orlando, they also do a really really good job at really slowing the pace down. And Orlando is a slow-paced team, so we definitely see that happening to Detroit in this game. If that does happen, we usually see a restriction and also a player like Cade Cunningham not getting the same amount of volume that he usually does see when it comes to being out there on the floor. So he may see a bit less volume than he usually does see due to the slow pace that Orlando Magic play with. On top of that, take into consideration that they do a great job, especially against Cade Cunningham's position, which he does play point guard for. I definitely see that being a big case coming into this game. So for that reason, we do very much like the under for this situation for someone like Cade Cunningham. Yes, he has been playing great, but we think Orlando Magic are going to do their best and really focus in on someone like Cade Cunningham and go on the under in this situation here.